Hey everyone, it is Daily Dynamic Duo here, and I decided because I do watch a lot of true crime videos on YouTube. I also listen to true crime podcasts that I thought that I will try to incorporate it somehow in The Sims. And well, I know there is someone that actually does a brief history. I am so sorry for messing up that word. That she does a brief history about the Sims with some true crime things, but I like her channel. But like they're kind of like not that long, and I'm like, huh. But she's normally building, and I think I'll do probably like either whatever, like building or just playing the game and talking about it like real fast. Anyway, I lost track of mind, right? Because I was also texting my boyfriend, just sending him a link to this. And I'm also trying to find out what her channel is. Yes, hers is Hip Hip Renee. So she does like builds and then talks briefly about different true crimes, and I figured I wanted to try it because I mean I always like true crime stories, and I figured why not, try something different for when I'm actually just creating Sims. So the YouTubers that I do listen to for true crime, if you want to check them out, is first Bailey Arian. I love her. She does her makeup and, basically has true crime stories. I like the casual criminalist Bella Fiardi and Kendall Ray. I also do listen to I think her name is Sherilyn Dale. I know her first name is Sherilyn. I don't remember her last name. But those are who I normally listen to. I'll probably link, them in the description of this stream when I'm done. And yes, it is a stream, so it's probably not going to be the best. But, I decided to try this out, especially since I'm just in Creative Sim right now. So before I even go into a story, I'm going to just tell you about my little Sim family. As I have to create two more Sims and then that are her kids. So Amina bought a sim that I created a while back, like years ago. I think I first created her in The Sims 2 and then, brought her over into each game. So like she actually has a lot of kids and a lot of ex-husbands. And hold on. Sorry about that, everybody. But so Amina has, as I said, a lot of kids and a lot of husbands before I knew about the 100 baby challenge. So I decided I'm gonna just put her in my game because, I like her and I just wanted to kind of like fill out my game with like Sims that I create. So that is just what we're gonna do. So I'm going to go ahead and create the other two Sims that I have to create, and we are going to talk about the true crime that I decided that I was going to do for this is who were the Ken and Barbie killers? The shocking crimes of Karla Homolka and Paul Bernardo. When a handsome man from Canada met an equally attractive, albeit younger teen girl in 1987. No one, including their closest friends, could have predicted they would one day be known worldwide as the Ken and Barbie Killers. Paul Bernando was an intelligent and popular 23-year-old from the Scarborough area of Toronto, and appeared to be on the path to success after graduating from the Sir Wilfrid Laurier Collegiate Institute. I'm sorry, I cannot pronounce shit, so I probably sound stupid. Apologies. He attended the University of Toronto Scarborough while working as an Amway consultant. Yet behind his blonde locks, deep dimples, and charming personality, Bernardo was dabbling in dark fantasies of rape and torture. He began to indulge these sadistic urges by humiliating women in public and hitting his dates. But when his desires weren't satisfied, he began prowling at night, searching for girls walking alone. He would eventually rape at least 13 women, yet his thirst for dark perversion was never quenched. He sounds like a really, really horrible person. You know, like, I'm gonna go back to the story, but I can't imagine what compels someone to want to hurt other people. Like, you have dark thoughts and you get off on this. Like, how do you not, like, care for human life? You know, and that's why, like, I don't ever understand how anyone could be like that. I understand being mad at people and getting angry at people for things they've done to you, but I can't imagine, like, just wanting to harm someone that never has done anything to you, yet alone rape them, like, take away their dignity, take away them feeling safe, you know? Like, they're not gonna feel safe walking around anymore. Even if years and years pass, they're never going to ever be okay. And I speak on this because I am, unfortunately, a victim of rape. And it is something that will never leave you. And you will have flashbacks of that years and years later. It isn't anything that, you know, they're overcome. I mean, they'll probably, you know, be a little bit okay, like, not okay, but they'll be able to kind of live their life, but it will destroy them, you know. It's like a sick son of a bitch. That's all I'm gonna say. So, Scarborough detectives began looking for someone who became known as the Scarborough Rapist. And although Paul was an almost identical match to the sketch police made from victims' accounts of the assaults, he was arrested when initially questioned. So, okay, I'm going to just finish the last sentence of this paragraph. It says, he cleverly talks his way out of an interrogation, even voluntarily giving a DNA sample to police. Now, this also was before, I think, DNA testing was, like, really popular, or before they had the means to do what they had to do for it, like how it is now. But the fact that this man looked exactly like the rapist, you didn't, you know, to think this is probably him. We're just gonna put you in jail because you look a lot like the person we're looking for. That can't be a coincidence. Like, how many people actually look alike? No, but apparently to the detectives, I guess, they, like, to them it wasn't, like, a good enough match. which is why, it's sad, really. Like, a lot of this could have probably be prevented. I don't want to say anything else, but okay, so it also says, meanwhile, Karla Homolka was a 17-year-old living in Chateauguay. As the eldest of her parents' three children, Karla set a good example for her younger sisters by working part-time at an animal hospital, volunteering, and maintaining good grades. She came from a seemingly normal background that included pool parties, dances, and other suburban activities. So basically, she kind of like comes off normal, like at the beginning, like never really did anything wrong, or at least the way that they try to paint her. Because, I mean, I'm going to read more into it, but it feels like they're kind of trying to paint her like, she wasn't like him. She was good until him, apparently. Ew. Not skin tight. Jeans. I'm also trying to do this, but okay. So everything in Homolka's life changed when she spotted Bernardo at a restaurant. The two immediately hit it off. Friends said that the chemistry between Karla and Paul was so fierce that they couldn't keep their hands off of each other, often making others in the room uncomfortable with their aggressive public displays of affection. It wasn't long before Bernardo began sharing his twisted fantasies with Homolka, and to his surprise, not only did she permit him to indulge his sick obsessions, but she wholeheartedly encouraged them. So, like, she obviously have issues as well. To be like, oh, you have fantasies of hurting people? Yeah, let me just, like, tell you. You can definitely go ahead and hurt people. That makes total sense. I'm going to even help you. As their relationship progressed, Bernando began teasing Homolka about being used goods, since he wasn't her first sexual relationship. So he basically was trying to call her a whore because she had sex before him. I mean, mind you, they are teenagers, and, even though as an adult, we don't wish teenagers to have sex anymore, especially like if they're our kids, but, it is something that happens. But, he basically wasn't happy that she wasn't a virgin, and basically this else said that, frantic that she would lose him to someone more innocent, she offered him something he couldn't refuse: her own little sister's virginity as a Christmas present. Bernardo readily accepted Homolka's gift. It was also where supposedly he actually been watching her little sister, like when she would get undressed and everything, from other, stories that I read about this case, that, he was kind of obsessive. He also was a peeping Tom, because he also, would watch his neighbors, like, people that don't close their curtains and then I think nothing of it. I mean, obviously now, I mean, I hope, close your fucking curtains if you're getting dressed, okay? As, close your curtains. A man or woman, just close them. You don't want someone watching you. Unless that's your kink, but still. So, in December 1990, the couple outlined plans to get 13-year-old Tammy Homolka so drunk that she wouldn't realize what was happening to her. When nighttime arrived, Tammy was indeed drinking, but remained coherent. Knowing that she wanted consent to sleeping with Bernando, the couple slipped Valium into the young teen's drink. First of all, I don't believe it was Valium. I actually think it was something else that was actually for animals, because it is where, since her sister Karla was working at an animal hospital, that is where she got these tranquilizers. So I'm not 100% sure what they are, but I don't believe that they were Valium. I think it was something else. But eventually, Tammy wanted to lie down after complaining of dizziness. But when she failed to pass out, Bernardo and Homolka put halothane, a chemical that Homolka stole from her job at the animal hospital, over her mouth and nose until she passed out. Once she was unconscious, Bernardo began filming Tammy and demanded that Homolka molest her younger sister. Bernardo then began to rape Tammy himself, but after a minute or so, the teen woke up. Tammy began violently throwing up and choking as she gasped for breath. The couple called 911 in a panic. They scrambled to cover their tracks, hiding evidence, dressing Tammy, and putting the girl back in her bed before paramedics and police arrived, but it was too late for the teenager. Tammy died after choking on her vomit, but no foul play was suspected. I'm just gonna say this. You have a 14-year-old girl that was perfectly okay, perfectly healthy, and did not have any health issues, die, and you don't think that something could have happened. I mean, even if she was drinking, it's like, you don't, I mean, let's face it, even if people die of natural causes, like when older people die and you call paramedics to have them, come and remove the body because they have passed away, they still are supposed to conduct it, like, to make sure that the person really died from natural causes. And the fact that, like, these people are just like, oh, whatever, okay, she just died naturally at 14 years old, that she partied way too much and just died. Like, really? You're just gonna close the case and just be like, whatever. It is an open and shut case. Which unfortunately, some do a lot because they don't want to deal with the paperwork, which is really sad. But that's another story. We're not getting into that. But Bernardo seemed to take Tammy's death to heart, often playing a video of her for friends while crying. But at Bernardo's insistence, Homolka later dressed up in her sister's clothes and they had sex on the dead girl's bed. What? What the fuck? Okay, Karla, girl, I know you're fucked up, but really, you're so fucked up that you don't care that this man killed your little sister and raped her and made you rape her and doesn't love you, does not give a fuck about you, and is still so obsessed over your sister that he makes you dress as her, and then you guys have to be in her room and probably roleplay as her. Sick fucking people. That's all that I'm gonna say. Reeling from the fact that he got away with murder, Bernardo's dark fantasies increased, feeling the need for more stimulation. He kidnapped 14-year-old Leslie Mahaffey in June 1991, just days before he married Homolka. He forced the petrified, blindfolded young girl into his home, where Homolka waited. Homolka watched while Bernando raped the teen for hours on end. Before she was choked to death, though who actually did the killing remains a mystery. Bernardo insists that Homolka killed Mahaffey out of jealousy, while Homolka said Bernardo squeezed the girl's throat so tight that she eventually expired from lack of air. They eventually chopped the girl into pieces and buried her in cement. Yes, they literally chopped her up. It's just like, how can like anyone do any of this? I don't know. And it's rather disgusting that they actually did that. Because I know that I believe they chopped her up and then they just put her remains wherever. But it says Mahaffey's remains were found a few weeks later in Ontario's Lake Gibson, weighed down by concrete blocks. Bernando realized that investigators didn't suspect him, at least on the surface, which boosted his confidence and convinced him he was invincible. That's how a lot of them seem like. They're for like, oh, so you don't suspect me. I can get away with this? I'm going to do more. His bizarre sense of bravado led to the kidnapping of 15-year-old Kristen French in April of 1982. While Bernardo brought Mahaffey into his home by his own doing, it was Homolka that lured French into Bernardo's car. Homolka asked the Catholic schoolgoers to come closer to give directions, and then Bernardo grabbed her from behind and forced her into the vehicle. A series of rapes and beatings came next, and as she had with her sister Tammy, Homolka participated in sexually assaulting French before the girl was brutally killed. 12 days later, detectives found French's naked body in a ditch in North Burlington, Ontario. This time, however, an acquaintance gave Bernardo's name to detectives as a possible murder suspect. He was questioned in his home, but nothing came of it. No surprise there, to be honest, because it seems like the first time they questioned him, they also believed whatever lie that he gave them. So it seemed like they're believing him again. I mean, because if you remember, before he even murdered Tammy, there was a rapist called the Scarborough Rapist who raped about 13 women, and sketch was put out and he looked exactly like the sketch, and the police still did not think that he was connected, because they're like, oh, you're willing to participate. You're willing to talk to us. You're willing to give us DNA. No, he's just covering for himself. I mean, there is a lot of murders that cooperate with the police only because they think they're smarter than you, first of all, and they think you will never suspect them. And unfortunately, the officers in this were not the best officers for this case. So the couple's killing spree came to an end on January 5th, 1993, when Homolka, severely beaten by Bernardo, moved in with relatives. After confessing the crimes to her family, they turned to the police. When detectives interviewed Homolka, she was reluctant to open up until they offered her a plea deal that would have her out of prison within 12 years. And I understand why they offered a plea deal. They wanted, her to confess to what happened and for Paul Bernardo to be put behind bars, but I still feel like she participated in the deaths of these young women and in the rapes to them, including her own sister. 12 years is not enough time at all. Like, the plea deal should just be like, we're not gonna give you the death penalty, but you're gonna be in life for the rest. You're gonna be, in prison for the rest of your life, basically. Actually, I don't know. Since it is Canada, I'm actually not aware if they have the death penalty or not. To be honest, I'm not sure. But, if it was tried here, they would have just been like, we're going to take the death penalty off the table. You'll be in jail without the possibility of parole. But anyway, Bernardo was subsequently arrested, but during questioning, he insisted that he never killed anyone, though he did admit to a number of sexual assaults. Interestingly enough, though Bernardo had a long history of committing rape, he never killed any of the women he sexually assaulted in Scarborough. The first murder occurred after he took up with Homolka when the pair killed her sister. So basically, they're trying to say that he never wanted to kill anyone and it was all his girlfriend. Like, no, it doesn't matter because, let's face it, people that do crimes do escalate. Even though he didn't kill anyone, that doesn't mean that he wouldn't have killed someone on his own. So even though it happened when he and Karla were together, both of them are guilty. Both of you killed the person. Like, no one is, it's no one's idea. Who gives a fuck who thought of it first? You both are fucking guilty, okay? And it just sucks that, like, he's in jail and she's fucking out. Bernando was charged and convicted of numerous counts of rape, including the Scarborough assaults, for which the DNA testing has finally implicated him. And 2 counts of murder. Homolka, on the other hand, was charged and convicted of manslaughter in exchange for testifying against Bernardo. While some people agree that Homolka deserved a lesser sentence, I would like to know who the fuck decided that she deserved a lesser sentence. I mean, I get that he was beating on her and all that shit, but let's face it, he didn't really beat on her until after they killed her sister. And it's... what I hate about this case is they kind of try to paint Karla as a victim as well. And though she was a victim on him beating her, she's really not a fucking victim. She knew exactly what was going on and she chose to participate. As soon as he told her his dark fantasy, she could have up and left, and she didn't. So let's not get it twisted, and let's not try to paint her as a fucking victim, because she's not. She's not a victim. She's guilty. But anyway, believing she was scared for her life is why they thought, she deserved a lesser sentence, and had been beaten into submission by Bernardo. The overwhelming majority of Canadians who followed the case were appalled that she got off so easy. Yes, I can understand that. Because, like I said, the people that think that she deserved a lesser sentence, really, she didn't. Because she fully committed these crimes with him. Knew exactly what was going on. There was, no question about it. But needless to say, when she was released from prison in 2005, the public erupted in protest. The community's outrage obviously didn't escape Homolka. Shortly after release, she hid away in Guadalupe, an island in the Caribbean, with her new husband, Derry Bordelaise, who happens to be her former lawyer's brother. After spending more than a decade there and having 3 kids, she resurfaced in 2014. First of all, how the hell do you want to marry someone and be with someone that murdered people? Like, where do you just go and be like, oh, yeah, okay, well, even though you did murder these girls and rape these girls, including your own sisters, and there's evidence, I'm just gonna, hook up with you and be with you, and like, even though I have kids, I'm just going to be with you, even though I have kids. I mean, not he didn't have kids beforehand. I'm just going to go ahead and be with you and have kids. Like, can you imagine that? Like, that's your mother. Your mother is a murderer, and it's like, how do you explain that to your kids? That you're just gonna be like, oh, well, you see, what happened was I was in an abusive relationship. I was so scared, so I decided to rape and kill my own sister. And then rape and kill another woman. Really, it's just stupid. Like, there's no way, like, I don't understand how her husband wanted her and how he had kids with her. I don't get that, and I think he's sick. I'm sorry. You are not well in your fucking mind to want to marry a fucking murderer. You're a sick fucking bastard too. I don't care. I'm just saying that because I would not want to be with someone that's like a killer. What the fuck? Anyway, Homolka's been living in the Quebec area under an assumed name, but in 2016, her cover was blown when a reporter with La Presse spotted her husband and subsequently revealed that Homolka and her new family had moved back to Chateau Bordeaux is clearly upset that he was confronted, said that anyone with issues concerning his wife could simply move. People have issues with your motherfucking wife because she's the motherfucking killer, you fucking dumbass. And I know that I cussed a lot, and probably why my true crime is not going to be the best because, people give their opinions without cussing, but your wife is a killer and a rapist. How the fuck are you gonna say, oh, you got a problem with my wife, so, like, you should move? Not that we shouldn't be here, because why would you move back to where first these killings happened? Her family probably don't fuck with her anymore because she killed her little sister. I mean, I understand wanting to defend your partner, but at the same time, it's like, dude, what the fuck is wrong with you? So this is a quote that he said. He said, if they are worried, all they have to do is move. We are free. We are in a free country. Has anything happened over the past 10 years? So why are they worried? I don't see why they are worried. Because she killed people. It doesn't matter that she didn't do anything else. The fact that she did it in the first fucking place. That's their issue. The fact that you do not care shows how fucked up of a human that you are. You're just as fucked up as her because you accepted what she did. And you're mad that people are concerned about her being freely to walk around. You're an idiot. And the whole, oh, it's a free country, they did their time. Yeah, that's not the way it works. That's not ever how it fucking works. Doesn't even work like that over here. You do a crime, you go to jail. They're always gonna be like, well, you're a criminal. It doesn't matter, like, if a person hasn't committed a crime in so many years, they're still viewed as that. But let's face it, how many people are walking around that killed somebody? Well, I'm not going to say anything about the justice system here, but you know, supposedly it shouldn't be that high. And if it is, it's like you should understand why people are concerned about your wife being free to walk around. The problem, however, is much bigger than Homolka simply being back in Canada. She transformed herself into a doting soccer mom and began participating in activities at Centennial Park Elementary School where her children are students, regardless of how long it's been since her crimes. That didn't sit well with other parents. Although the local school board sent letters to parents assuring them that their kids were safe, Homolka's more presence sparked an outrage. Well, of course it sparked an outrage. You, like, killed people. Like, no one's gonna be like, oh yeah, I'll let my kids still attend the school with this person that base like their mom is a killer and a rapist. Yeah, I so want my kids to attend this school. Although the local school board sent letters to parents. Oh, okay, I already read that. No, yeah. So Homolka's mere presence sparked an outrage that sadly will likely end up affecting her children. Of course, because I mean, it's sad that, the kids have to deal with that, but it's like, well, your mom's the killer. It's not your fault. You're innocent, unlike your daddy, because your daddy's not innocent because he knew exactly what your mom did and still decided to be with her. But, anyway, so Montreal attorney Eric Seddon followed up by saying there is nothing that can be done to remove Homolka from a neighborhood where she isn't wanted, as she's done her time and is legally free. And this is the quote that he said, like it or not, she has the right to live her life like any other person. Ugh. I'm just going to say that. Without being subject to threats and harassment and being hounded to the point that she seeks refuge in her own home and is afraid to leave. Well, you know what? No one cares if she's afraid to leave, and I don't believe she deserves her fucking race, okay? So we're just gonna chop it up so that even though legally, she did her time and, they're like, well, she was away, she served, she doesn't deserve a fucking peace of mind, okay? Her kids do. Her kids should not have to go through fucking shit because of how horrible of a mother they have. Like the kids should be left alone. Just harass her. But anyway, it says, meanwhile, Bernando is fighting for his own freedom. Last year, he applied for day parole, but was shut down as quickly as he requested it. He's up for standard parole in 3 years, but Correctional Service Canada's Tim Danson assured the public that even if he has the right to apply for parole, it's only a standard procedure. Having been deemed a dangerous offender, Bernando will probably never be released from prison. Is it fair that Homolka, who stood by Bernardo and participated in their heinous crimes, is free to walk the streets? Apparently so in the eyes of the law, although the memory of her crimes will likely never fade, no matter how many times she changes her name. So that is the true crime for this, and honestly, I feel like she doesn't deserve to be free, and she definitely deserves to be harassed, and she should have been in prison longer because she was such a willing participant. And the fact that her first victim was her own sister. It wasn't some random girl. I mean, I'm not saying that one is more severe than the other. I'm not saying that, but the fact that she did that to your own sister, your own blood, it's like, yeah, you don't deserve to be free. He definitely deserves to be in there for the rest of his life. But I understand people not being okay with her being there, and I just feel so sorry for her kids because your mother is the killer. Like, You know, that's not something that's going to be easily for you to deal with. And even though they probably love their mom because she's probably different with them, you know, psychopaths never reveal who they are to their kids sometimes. But it's like, that has to be hard and everything. And she never should have been allowed to leave prison and shouldn't have ever started a family. And I still think that something is terribly wrong with her fucking husband for being fucking married to her and for accepting her killing her sister and all this other fucking shit. Like, what the fuck is wrong with you? And the fact that he feels like no one has the right to be concerned. You're living around children, and those were her victims, were underage girls. So, yeah, you a pussy ass bitch. And you suck just as much as she sucks. But anyway, that's for this story, and I'm just going to, play around with them, with my Sims. So I know that probably did not do well since, I don't know how to not cuss. And really, for Dacious Harry, you're going to say hey and then bye because I don't say hey back, whatever. Don't care. Because obviously, if I'm doing a true crime thing, I'm not going to be focused on my comments right now because I'm trying to get through with that. And the fact that people feel like, oh my God, you have to talk to me. Did you ever think that I will get around to talking to you when I have the chance? I'm not trying to be rude. I was trying to get through with the little story and everything, you know. But hi, Lisa. I'm actually about to end this because I was only doing it for the true crime, but I will be back later on just playing The Sims and building a house for them. So if you did like the true crime story, let me know. Because I was thinking of maybe just doing this like every Thursday, so it'll be like a true crime Thursday. And if you did not hear part of the story, it is the Barbie and Ken murders of it deals with Karla Homolka and Paul Bernando, and there's a new series being released on Discovery Plus. It is really gruesome and it's very sad on what happened. And honestly, I've been saying I feel like 12 years for her participation and the killings of these young girls, including her sister, is not enough time. So I'll be back. Thank you.